compared to 2.9 million, which is about 27% by the time the president was coming into office. Very quickly, the issue of agriculture, the titling of land for farmers, that means they're saved the stress of thinking whether they own the land, and of course helps them to concentrate on farming. And the issue of subsidized fertilizers and seeds, again the president talking about that very much today in his speech. And then you see the reduction of fertilizer prices from 2,400 to an average of 1,700 shillings. This again saves farmers the cost. And there's this establishment of a seed and fertilizer development fund. What this makes is to make sure that, again, there is no way that these fertilizer prices are either going to go up. It is to ensure that indeed fertilizers and seed remain subsidized. And again, you're looking at the Galana Kulalu irrigation scheme, which really its agenda being the issue of food security and to feed Kenyans. And finally, the issue of healthcare. More than 96 hospitals countrywide are now equipped with renal, X-rays, theater and mammogram services. And again, the installation of a surgical equipment, theater equipment and intensive care equipment in county hospitals. This is again coming at a cost of 38 billion shillings. Some of this equipment is actually leased, but to actually save Kenyans the cost of having to travel far and wide to seek for these services. And then there is the innovative medical technology and equipment to hospitals. And again, 6 million people are now covered by NHIF as compared to about 3 million when the president was coming to power. Free maternity services, I think this has been the scoreboard, particularly women really going to get free maternity services when they're actually giving birth. Again, this being one of the milestones. It's time for us to look at perspective and, of course, try and put these things into perspective on the other side of studio. Well, it's time for us to get into the conversation with Ben Makowiti. He was with us here on Monday. He's a political analyst. And Dr. Walter Ongeti is a governance strategic expert.
Yeah, governance and strategy.
Absolutely, governance and strategy expert. And we'll try to get into the whole thing. But of course, to start us off, let me start with you, Walter. The achievements of a Jubilee administration in this 4 years, other than what we have highlighted there, and of course you can also touch some of them. What have been the achievements 4 years down the line?
Thank you, John. Perhaps before I go there,
yes,
allow me to also send my condolences to the friends and relatives of those who lost their lives yesterday at the Karai area in Naivasha. As a resident of Naivasha myself, we are deeply saddened. It is a sorrowful moment, and everyone in Naivasha is still very much shocked. Much more shocked were those who are first responders on the ground, including journalists like yourselves, whom I know are going through a very difficult time, just conceptualizing what they went through. Now, back to the issue around Jubilee achievement. I really would want to resonate with what you have mentioned there. And of course, from where I sit, a lot has been achieved by the Jubilee administration. And of course, it's a journey. A country goes through different phases, and ours being a country that is going through transformation, we must appreciate where we've come from. Remember that Jubilee took over power when we were changing also into a new constitutional dispensation. In fact, it is the first government to implement this new constitution fully. And that in itself changed the way things were being governed. Moving to give more executive powers to the president, to a more executive president, and also the 47 counties where some functions were devolved. Some of the functions in agriculture were devolved, and health, and so forth. So national government was left with the major issues around infrastructure and also selective infrastructure. It was left with the policy and also some components of health and also national security. You will recall, if I may begin at the national security level, you will recall that from around 2011,